Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by our Patreon supporters and CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. And check out our co-sponsor, CardHoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. And finally, check out our Alter Sleeves. Support the show by using the code MAGICMICS at checkout for 5% off anything in the store, including a set of exclusive sleeves featuring the Magic Mics crew at altersleeves.com/MagicMics. I am Evan Irwin. I'm going to get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, Aaron Campbell.
How's it going?
Ruben Bressler.
Hey, what's up? I'm trying to make it so that my laptop isn't going to take off
from the air terminal.
Yeah,
today.
It's going a little wild, but we'll see how it goes.
But you all are here, and it's another wonderful Thursday with all of you. And with that, we kick it off with the first pick and giveaway. Get your chance at a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat. But subscribe first to get 2 chances to win, and don't forget our raid at the end of the show to support a member of the community. Enter your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we might raid tonight. And if you never figure out what happens at the end of the show and you never hear that stuff, it's because you're listening to the podcast or watching the video, and you guys are great. But if you want to check all that stuff live, as well as thanking the subscribers and the bit givers and stuff, then check us out.
You can check out the live moderated community that we have here on Twitch.
That's right.
.tv/MagicMics.
You certainly can, where we hang out and do stuff. Like, talk about our first pick, where Wizards woke up and chose violence and decided to ban Time Warp and Historic as of yesterday. So this kind of ties into the results from the Strixhaven Championship, which there were only 31 copies of Brainstorm in the top 8 because Seth Manfield misclicked when submitting his deck list. That is amazing.
Bless his heart.
Amazing. But again, problem's Time Warp, guys. Problem is Time Warp.
Yeah. What a weird... This is one of the more confusing ban list announcements that I've ever seen. And leads me to believe that typically when I'm this confused, there's an emergency ban 2 weeks later. So one hopes that, I understand that only 31 of 32 possible brainstorms took it into the top 8, but are we turning it into Legacy? If we're turning Modern into Legacy does have a tacit understanding, gentleman's agreement, that we're never banning Brainstorm because it holds the format together.
Right.
Are we there now? We've decided that Modern is going to be held together by
Historic.
Brainstorm? Not Modern. Historic is going to be held together by Brainstorm? That's what we've decided?
Well, originally they had said a lot about making Historic Pioneer, right? They said we want to get Pioneer.
Because look how well that's going.
I know, right? Everyone loves Pioneer except no one's playing it. So... And Modern looks like $1 million right now because it has all those crazy new toys that people get to play with. So that's really cool. And stuck in the middle is this weird sort of Historic format that doesn't get all the sweet reprints. It doesn't get the weird sets that injects craziness into the format. Yeah. It just kind of gets what's left over when there's stuff like Mystical Archive. It's like, well, I guess we'll give you all these spells. We'll ban these 7 ridiculous ones. We won't give you Counterspell. We won't give you Lightning Bolt. Here's Brainstorm and Time Warp. And somehow Time Warp. And the pros were like... Time Warp was the 3rd or 4th worst card that you would want to ban. What is happening? I don't get it.
I will commend them for, it does appear that they took quick action. One of the things we've said before is that we're fine with them increasing the power level as long as they are prepared to act quickly when they are given evidence that the cards are too good. And so I will commend them for acting quickly. It sounds like they acted on the wrong card. And we've seen this before, Legacy players, there have been some people, everyone has their theories as to what's wrong with Legacy. And, for a while there, it was, ban Delver. And then there are some people that are ban fetch lands. And, then it does sound like, people have kind of come to the conclusion that it really is kind of the Brainstorm problem where, if you just got rid of Brainstorm, and it's so weird as a Vintage player because Brainstorm is restricted in Vintage, and it's so weird to play so much Vintage and then go play Legacy and be like, oh, you can do that 4 times? What? It's wild.
It's wild. And when you're playing historic, I mean, there's often that feeling of, when your opponent brainstorms and they're in a very tough spot, or they rip a brainstorm, it's a huge leg up because they got to see so many cards all at once. They got to pick and choose sort of where they're getting them and how. It is card advantage. It's not just filtering like Faithless Looting. So like there's a whole bunch of ways that make brainstorm just so much better than everything else. And the brainstorm decks, did better against the non-brainstorm decks, and the memory lapse decks did better than the non-memory lapse decks. Like all of these powerful blue spells continue to show dominance, for lack of a better term. And congratulations to Sam Pardee, who took it all down, obviously playing 4 brainstorms in his Jeskai Turns deck, because that deck's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that deck had all of the problem children in it.
It sure did.
Villains 1, 2, and 3 thus far of the new cards, effectively. And yeah, Sam Pardee, in my mind, of Birthing Pod fame, winning the Strixhaven Championship, which is super dope. Like, old school player, definitely someone that we've heard of, a member of the not the old guard, but like the medium guard at this point. I would
Somebody
say.
actually playing Embercleave.
Yeah,
when they give him the tweet and say thanks for playing Embercleave, it actually works.
I know. Hall Monitor. We got 4 Hall Monitors, only 1 of the Charger, which I thought was great.
Hilarious.
Yeah, the deck is super geared for a small field.
So this was dual format. This was standard and historic.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so beyond the straightforward, turn guys sideways deck is the Jeskai Turns deck, which uses Indomitable Creativity along with making a 1/1 from Dwarven Mine. So you can sacrifice it, and then you're going to go get the dragon is the only thing you can find. So then the dragon plays Time Warp, so you get more turns, and then they die a lot. Or your dragon gets Mizzix Mastery and does the same thing.
So the only creature in the deck is Velomachus Lorehold.
Right.
You play Indomitable Creativity with Dwarven Mine, and you go Mountain, Mountain, Mountain. Dwarven Mine, make a 1/1. Creativity for 1, get your Velomachus. And
smash.
Go to town.
Jesus, this looks silly.
It's ridiculous. Silly. And so one of the things we were talking about earlier, which is, there's no more Time Warp, but you know what there is? Dragonstorm. And Dragonstorm.
I am here for Dragonstorm. I will.
Dragonstorm is right behind Mizzix Mastery decks. Dragonstorm is next. It's just
this deck is not banned out of the format. You just put Alrund's Epiphany in this deck, right?
But you can't cast it off the Velomachus. That's the problem.
Oh, okay.
So Velomachus hitting Time Warp was very important, and that was the important mana value or whatever. So again, this is one and I've already played against it, and I've already played with it. You just play Bladewing the Risen and Terror the Peaks, and you Dragonstorm.
I'm in.
And you just loop the Bladewing the Risens or whatever over and over, and then they die a lot, and that's just how it goes.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I mean that's our format right now.
I forgot that Velomachus Lorehold said 5 or less than its power.
Right.
So that's unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, if Dragonstorm is good, and I said this in the pre-show, if Dragonstorm is good, fine. I'm okay with goofy combo decks that require a 9-mana sorcery being the way to play Magic. That deck is hated out a lot more easily than this Turns deck.
Well, like I said, I have played against it. I ran into it. I thought it was ridiculous. I built my own version of it. I beat someone to death with it really easily, and it feels very powerful. So we'll see what happens.
Great.
Mizzix Mastery is
Chat's calling you out. Chat's saying it's not real.
Chat's saying it's not real,
and
which is
you don't have to believe me. Look, I said Ragavan was the best 1-drop ever. Ragavan was the best 1-drop, and everybody came at me. Actually, this 1-drop that just really defines the format. No, it don't. It's card's insane. It's okay to say a card's insane. It's okay.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong on that one. I mean, it's. Yeah, I mean, you're right more often than you're wrong. We'll say it that way.
And I'm happy to be wrong because it's more entertaining for you guys. Look, if I'm over here wishy-washy, it's not going to be as interesting. You can't go dunk on me when I screw it up.
That is also true. However, I think we can all agree Brainstorm shouldn't still be legal.
I mean, look, I like powerful cards, man. I like Brainstorm. I'm not saying I don't like Brainstorm, but I also like a format that's a little bit more fair. And there's no fetches in the format to start with, and it's still this good.
Well, there's Fabled Passage,
and that's
all you really need.
Yeah, and that's enough. And with that, and what was the other one? The Expressive Iteration. That card's nuts. So
Expressive Iteration's great. Yeah. Expressive Iteration is at least a new card that is going into old formats like Ragavan, as opposed to the other way around. Like, it's not an invasive species.
Right. Yeah, that card is just neat. That to me is, if you took away the Brainstorms and you went up to 4 Expressive Iteration, that's fine. That's a 2-mana sorcery. It's card selection. It's cool. But like EOT, instant draw 3 cards, man, that's a bridge. And it is very far. All right, so let's move on here to gathering the townsfolk as we do. The Secret Lair Universes Beyond update. Oh boy. So, Wizards had announced that they made Universes Beyond cards previously for The Walking Dead. These are mechanically unique cards found only in the Secret Lair packages. Everyone lost their mind. It was also the best-selling Secret Lair ever, as far as I know, to date. I don't know if that's true still, but it was crazy huge seller, all right? Well, they decided to announce, they said, hey, we're going to make some Universes Beyond stuff with, different IPs and whatnot, but we're going to make in Magic versions, in set boosters for part of the list, in about 6 months or so after the release of that Secret Lair. And from what Blake was explaining today, it was the quickest way they could get a card into a product is to put it on the list. Even if it shows up at a higher frequency, it's still the fastest way. It doesn't stop them from putting it in a commander deck. It doesn't stop them from putting it in a reprint set, like a master set or a Modern Horizons or whatever. They don't have to bring it in a standard. They can put it in different sets if they want to. But this is the quickest way to get people, cards in hand. Where a lot of people pushed back and said, hey, just putting this one card on a reprint list, on the list is not a great way to get cards out to the public, let alone there being 2 different versions at that point.
Okay, I just want to clarify just so I'm understanding this. So are they saying that, so let's say, for example, let's use The Walking Dead. So Walking Dead had Lucille.
Right.
Are they saying that going forward, you will now be able to get Lucille in a future set, as part of the list?
Well, here's the problem. Wizards, you do it to me every time. I'm reading an announcement and I'm reading the thing and I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Oh, that sounds so cool, right? You're going to make stuff in Magic Universe 6 months later. I wonder what Rick Steadfast's leader is going to look like in Magic. And they go, we're not doing The Walking Dead though. And you're like, but you just said you had the answer to fixing it.
To answer your question, Aaron, the card Lucille, it won't work with. But the future Lucille's, yes.
Okay, so kind of like they had the Godzilla versions of cards, and then you had like Yadaro, and then you had like Mecha Godzilla. So it's going to be functionally the same card, but it'll have like a different name and different art, and it'll be on the list.
Right, and they said it'll have a different treatment. It won't be exactly like the Godzilla stuff.
That?
Well, the problem is that
there's no problem with
Evan
it.
Sounds fired up.
That's true. I will wait for Evan to finish with what he's fired up about.
Well, I'm fired up in the fact that they're not doing it for The Walking Dead. Like,
they're not going back and fixing the old one.
And if it's a contractual issue, it takes you 3 words to say that. You know what I mean? Like we would do it for The Walking Dead, but we can't because of promises. We can't because of agreements. It's fine. But if that's not the case, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you say we're doing The Walking Dead? It's going to debut in this. It's going to debut in Innistrad or whatever. Like, why?
That's frustrating.
It's frustrating as hell. And then Wizards comes back. God bless them. Thank you. They actually came back and answered my tweet and said, hey, we might do this in the future. And I'm like, it was right there. You didn't have to, it could have been part of that announcement, part of that feel good of, the feel bad that we're never going to get these cards ever again, that you missed your boat when you didn't buy the Secret Lair. That's not a problem anymore. And it's never going to be a problem again. And here's why. But they did all that, except not including the first time they did it for Universes Beyond.
Yeah. I'm sure there's some legal issue with Secret Lair The Walking Dead. Setting aside not going back and fixing the first iteration of this. Set that aside for now. Pretend that this is the first time they're doing whatever it is they're doing. Everything in this announcement going forward is what we wanted.
Absolutely. It's a way to
what? Wait, hold on. What's the problem?
Yeah, what's the problem?
So for me personally, I like having things that other people can't have. And so, so I like the appeal of a limited edition card, or I like the appeal of a playmat that is, and this is just me. I understand that for the greater good, this is good because more people can get those cards. But for me personally, that takes away some of my interest in these items where, I love the fact one of my favorite playmats is a playmat that I got from GP Bologna in Italy. We had a beloved listener, Adrian, who, was close to Italy. And I love that. I love the fact that no one else has a Gifts Ungiven playmat. And so, I'm one of those people that likes knowing the things that I have are a little hard to come by. And so when you tell me that a product that was originally sold as being limited edition is now going to be for everybody, I'm happy that more people have access to it, but am I personally going to, that decreases the likelihood that I'm likely to buy that. And I think both of those things can be true. Like, I'm happy for everybody else, but am I going to buy this? Probably not.
So the good news for you, Miss Classy Bougie Ratchet, is that they did address you and, folks like you who want the fancy thing and just want that fancy thing to last forever, which is the Secret Lair versions are going to be that unique. The printing of the card as it is named is going to remain. The Godzilla version, and it's not going to be exactly a Godzilla version, but it'll be like an in-universe Magic theming of what the card is in a mechanical sense. It'll look totally different. It'll have a different name. It'll have a different art, but it'll be the same mechanically.
Right.
And as someone who likes, the pimped out versions of any, if you like a foil, like an etched foil commander, that costs the same amount of mana as your other stuff. Your four and black border duels tap for the same mana as my crappy, gone through the washer plateaus. You know what I mean? So I feel like I agree with you, and Magic knows that it's a collectible card game. It knows that a lot of the money comes from the folks that want the special thing. I think they've addressed it, perhaps not exactly to your liking of no one else can have it.
Well, let's bounce back here to the original issue. The original issue was that they were making mechanically unique cards that you could only get from Wizards of the Coast. Wizards of the Coast was the card dealer. It wasn't a vendor that you found at a Grand Prix. It wasn't an online store that you ordered it from and it showed up at your house. It was, you have to order them directly from Wizards. Thank you. They'll take all of the dollars, and then they will only print these cards this one time ever. And so if this cuts the problem of, you still get the cool unique thing, they're only going to do the one and done printing of the Universes Beyond stuff. And let's go ahead and bring it up here. This is the one they announced today. They sort of told us all of this stuff about reprinting Universes Beyond, but they wouldn't tell us what was coming next. Well, they finally revealed, yesterday, that it's going to be Stranger Things. There's going to be Stranger Things cards.
That's what's her nuts.
Yep. That's the one.
Millie
Bobby Brown.
Millie Bobby
faked
Brown.
washing her face for her makeup tutorial. That's her.
Oh.
Yep. That's what I know her from too.
Yeah.
Me three. Well, she
is happening right now.
She stars in Stranger Things. I still haven't watched season 3, but I'm sure it's lovely. But
I've also not watched season 3.
No, I've never watched it.
I watched the first 2 seasons and loved it.
Yeah, it was definitely a good show. I didn't not like it, but either way, the idea that you can have an 11 card, which is probably going to be a Planeswalker, something to do with the upside down. Maybe there's a Moldal double face card that has the upside down version of something.
The return of upside down cards from Kamigawa, Evan.
There we go. Give me some flips. Give me some flipping flips.
Nifty.
That would be super nifty. And so
give me the Demogorgon, like a great reanimation target. Yes.
And later, in about 6 months, you'll have another version that you can buy from vendors if you want. Now, the issue is that when it first shows up as a part of the list, it's probably going to be extremely expensive just because there's not enough in the world to satiate demand, which is then probably going to prompt them to put it in a different product, which I'm totally okay with. But at the end of the day, if you want the special version that is Stranger Things, you can get it here, and this is the only time you can get it. And I love this compromise. I think it was great. I wish it had been there from the start. That's all I'm saying. So there you go.
I think that this is the best we could have hoped for when it comes to the issues that were raised with Secret Lair of the Walking Dead. I can't think of a better collection of changes to the secret lairs to address this exact problem.
Right. So moving on here to the title of tonight's episode, essentially, Post Malone showed up on game nights.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Dabbed on him.
Dabbed on him real hard, even though
Did
he
you
said he
see it?
I did.
I caught bits and pieces. He was very energetic. He was very stoked to be there. I really tuned in for Ashlyn and her Zancha deck. Like I came for Post Malone. I stayed for Post.
I stayed for Jimmy's Asmaranda Mardicadice Tinacoldakar deck.
There we go.
And
that deck was
that
sick.
deck went off, which was nice. Also, it's been a while since I've watched a full episode of Game Nights. Man, that's a pretty show.
Yeah.
Well,
holy heck.
I also think they put a little bit extra production into this episode, which I would expect.
Fine.
You know, of all the episodes, the one with Post Malone in it, but that's okay. But like they totally crushed it, and they did a fantastic job. And like you got to see Jimmy's deck go completely nuts. If he had a Mayhem Devil, that'd have been it. Like they'd have been just completely dead.
They'd have been dead.
Also, Esper Sentinel was amazing.
Yep.
That card drew like 10 cards throughout the thing. That was nuts. So like to think that it was good is fine, but to see it in action, it was terrific.
Yeah. I think that it is I mean, he's got 23 million Instagram followers. So these are the most eyeballs that are ever going to be on an episode of Game Nights. And first of all, I thought he was charismatic. He was kind. Like I'll be honest, I didn't know much about Post Malone. I just saw a picture of him and like listened to some of his music. I was like, that's probably not for me. He seemed like a very nice dude.
Yeah.
And it's super respectful. Every time he called Ashlyn ma'am, it was my favorite. And he also knew how his deck played. Like that was the thing that stuck out to me was, oh, that's a weird line to take. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. Like you could tell.
He knew his deck.
He knew his deck. He knew how to win specifically with his deck. It was very impressive.
It was very cool. And so it wasn't one of those things where you felt like they let him win or something. It was like, no. He found the line and then he beat them all to death in one big turn. The Portal 3 Kingdoms card that gives everybody horsemanship.
Yeah. Su Quan, I think
I've
was what it was.
talked about that card before. Yeah. That card is a house.
It exploded in price, apparently. As you would kind of expect it to. But last I heard, like, $400 or something silly, like crazy numbers.
What? Wow.
I don't know if that's true. That's just something I read on the internet. So we'll see.
I don't think it's 400.
But I know I'm not surprised.
The internet is where I'm going.
Yeah.
Right, chat, debunk this for us.
Yeah, please. What's the real price, everybody? Let us know.
Lord of Wu. Sun Quan, Lord of Wu, is a 6-mana 4/4. Currently, you can get a From the Vault Legends copy for $40.
Okay.
Now, click through that and make sure you can actually buy it for $40, and it's not like an older price.
It's not sold out.
That hasn't, sold out, and now the only ones listed
Someone
are.
said it was $50 yesterday.
Okay, fair enough. It was the hero of the match. I would say that if it wasn't for that card, none of his stuff would be unblockable. So all the tricks wouldn't have worked if that hadn't been the creature to lead the way.
You are right. It looks like it hasn't updated. The market price. The most recent market price was $40. The currently lowest listed price is $140.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay.
So that's a lot.
You're not wrong. I mean, it was very impressive.
Silly, but 100 something is definitely expected at this point.
And what a cool way to win the game! A bunch of zombies riding horses.
I mean, again, this was, to have this superstar show up for your game show thing that you record, and to have a great game where a bunch of people are going to do a bunch of cool stuff with a bunch of cool new cards, and the celebrity not only won, but was aware of Magic enough to win. For example, I think it was just today, this morning, YuGiOh has announced a ambassador for their game to be a young. Relatively young, 31-year-old soccer superstar. He's a French soccer guy. So if you can look up French or YuGiOh Ambassador French, you'll find it immediately. And it's really cool. And so this guy has 7+ million followers on Twitter or whatever. He's a soccer star over in Europe, And
Antoine
Griezmann.
Griezmann.
there you go.
From
Antoine
Barcelona. Okay, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and so like I was reading some of the threads of the sort of the Yu-Gi-Oh community, and they were super not happy with him not like knowing basic Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Oh no.
Oh, it was gatekeeping central, and I was like feeling so bad. They're like, he doesn't even know what this does or that does, or he couldn't answer the question about basic cards, and it's like, is that really where you want to go with this? Like, this should be amazing for your game, you know? So none of those issues with Post, none of those awkward interactions, because he was there, he was ready, he knew it, and it was great.
And Logan Paul with the Charizard necklace.
Oh,
That was this week, right? Didn't that happen?
that was the most 2021 thing that could have possibly have happened.
Crazy, yeah.
Absolutely ridiculous. Also, the Command Zone is celebrating 400 episodes, which is terrific for them.
Congratulations. 400 is a huge, I mean, every time you survive to that amount of number, much less in quarantine
limited
or
resources.
in the pandemic.
Was at 600 too.
Yeah. This week?
Wow.
Yep. They got to 600 this week?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, these shows that can last that long are so impressive, especially in the last 16 months, where we're still, by the way, we're still in a global pandemic. Even though the United States
can't get vaccinated, even if they want to.
Right, because the United States they make their vaccine and then they don't share. But
I don't even think we made them. I think we just were contractually obligated to get them first.
We just took them. Said, come get those over here.
It's ours first.
But
yeah, it's anything that has survived all the way through is impressive.
Like you're watching right now on your screen.
Well, and also Aaron's relationship.
He's in the chat. Hi, baby.
That's why I said
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's
it's impressive. I'm just saying.
Hey,
mine didn't.
Look, 15 months ago, I was honest to God, like, do we just like not do this for a while? Like, do we just stop? Like,
Yeah. And a lot of people did.
Yeah, but we did not. We kept going. We're still here. You guys are great, and we appreciate you. Excuse me. Let's turn the corner here to Desperate Ravings. So many Desperate Ravings. So there is some amount of confusion right now around the foiling that takes place on
Did you
retro.
really just skip you're skipping like crazy.
What did I? Oh, about the Discord? I mean,
yeah.
The Discord is
What Discord?
kind of moot.
See, he didn't even know about it.
Exactly.
Don't you feel dumb?
No, I don't feel dumb. I'm saying, what's there to say about
We're
it?
a new show.
Is this a news thing?
And it's hilarious. It's so funny because we went into this week thinking we wouldn't have enough topics, and then here's Evan just skipping topics.
All right, we'll come back to this.
No,
because I need to research what this is.
Chat doesn't seem like they don't even know either.
That's what I'm saying. Give me a second. Talk about whatever it is you're talking about.
I will
Evan.
handle this since apparently Evan
never
didn't
mind.
do his homework. So Magic the Gathering, the official brand, announced that they are going to be launching their own Discord channel, which was hilarious because people were trying to speculate on all the ways that this could go horribly wrong, particularly with the fact that Wizards does not have a really great history when it comes to moderation. We've had a lot of issues in Twitch chat with different moderation groups where we famously had the battle between the official Wizards mods and the volunteer mods, and the fact that they don't compensate their mods and all of that. And so people were just sort of, if you look at the replies here, just all the ways this could possibly go wrong. And so by all accounts, this is a terrible idea. And of all the things they could choose to focus on and put their attention on, they've decided we need this. And so I'm anxious to see how this turns out.
It's they have really good intentions, right? Like every single time we see this, it's always with the best intentions, and then there's always something weird that comes out of nowhere that they weren't expecting. For example, one of them, mentioned there's no buying, selling, or trading for the world's largest trading card game, and and again, I understand that you have 100,000 people in the same chat room. That in itself is just complete madness.
This does seem like a bad idea.
And so it feels like a weird way to kind of produce announcements for people who want to read them, who aren't already listening to their Twitter or looking at Facebook or just going to their website. And correct me if I'm wrong, because right now everything's read-only, and I expect that. But, how are they going to not read-only it in a way that doesn't just devolve into chaos?
Yeah.
And also they would need to have moderation, which they don't
And what they had mentioned that, I believe they mentioned here, April King had inquired about it. And they say, in the full rollout of the server, we will have full-time moderation support to make this space safe and welcoming for all players.
That's lucky.
I know. This is our highest priority, and we'll take as much time as we need to iterate it and get it right. And they said, and yes, it means paid positions, not just, Watsy Danes you some gems or whatever.
That is the part that now I'm interested in this as a news story. So they're going to have paid positions. Listen, I didn't care before because I thought it was a bad idea.
You were fine. I was just digging on Evan for just skipping it.
It's fine. Well,
it
took us a minute. It took us a minute to get to a nugget of interesting because I thought that this was just a bad idea that was going to die in 3 weeks. But now they're paying people as if they were orcs on Magic Online or Twitch doesn't have this. This is their highest priority? That seems like an odd line to draw in the sand.
Right. So some feedback has been brought up in the chat as to are these going to be people whose sole purpose is to moderate? Are they going to be people who already have existing responsibilities and then on top of that will have to moderate? And so lots of questions here. It just sounds like the audience for Magic is so large that it's kind of like actual Twitch chat where it's like when you have a chat with so many people, it's just unusable. Just so many messages are going by. You have so many cats to herd. I just don't know how you can make this happen.
I'm in a couple of Discords that have 5 digits people in them, and they're just unusable.
Yeah,
I feel like this was in a PowerPoint presentation somewhere, and everyone just kind of nodded and said, "Yeah, that's a good idea." I didn't really think about what happens when you have a Discord server.
Languages is another concern. Magic is an international game. I mean,
oh boy, yeah. And then you would try
issues, people that you might have blocked on social media can come find you in the Discord. There's privacy concerns, safety concerns. I mean,
and you're going to try to subset the audience to these little tiny pockets, and then you're how do you moderate the little tiny pockets at that point? You're going to have so many different channels with so much different stuff in all the different languages, and here come the spammers, and here come the people throwing out porn or whatever, and it's.
I'm over it. I think this is a bad idea. Also, there is no who's the community manager?
Who's in charge, right? And what is okay and what is not okay. Again, this is one of those things where it sounded like a great idea on paper, and then the real world showed up and said it's just not that simple. You just that's their highest priority.
The thing I learned about this news story though, Evan, is if you put it in the doc, don't skip it.
Don't skip it,
because if you do it, Aaron will interrupt you in the middle of whatever sentence you're doing.
That's true. I'm trying to move along.
So you have to delete it from the doc before you move on to the next.
So she can
it's
see
like a fun little mini game.
Yeah,
it's a mini game. All right. So
what is the doc for if not to be on topic and organized, Evan? There are rules.
Wow.
Damn it.
Both of yous. I swear to God. All right. So moving on to Desperate Ravings here. There was some confusion, as I was saying earlier, there was some confusion around the foiling process of old border cards. The MH1 foils are basically, as I understand it, and saying that there were different foils showing up in set boosters versus collector boosters. And is that the case? There was I guess now sort of famous video that I'm showing on the screen right now that says the foil old border rares from collector boxes have the entire card foiled. As you can see, that looks almost fake. It's like that's what it looks like. I feel like when you order the Chinese knockoff fakes or whatever online, that's what they look like. So that was scary. And to the point where as a retailer, and not just cool stuff, but other retailers were saying, we're going to probably have to list these things separate because as you see here, the old border, he says, from the set boxes, look at how there's no foiling whatsoever on the art and the text. And you go up here and there's literally foil on everything all the time. So we were planning on separating these as two separate items, essentially as having duplicate items for these things, because let me tell you, if you sell Magic cards, people are very picky about their Magic cards. And if you were to try to sell them a foil that looks like that, and they were expecting a foil that looks like that, it's going to be a serious problem.
Who are going to have to separate those in a different part of the box in the warehouse.
Right. So this was kind of scary, it was like, whoa. And they said our daily MTG feature explains the single process we use for traditional foils and retro frame cards. This process applies to cards found across all border types. They're currently investigating the treatment on the cards this player received. It's to the point where not everyone has, barely have distributors gotten enough product, let alone just sent it flying out their doors. So not a lot of people have got enough product to open to verify this wasn't kind of like a weird one-off, a small batch that had a problem, something like that. But it doesn't appear that this is a super widespread problem, is what I am taking from this tweet from Wizards is yes, this is clearly a thing, and that's not okay, but this appears to be an anomaly.
So like a miscut or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Could it be that this is a not collation issue? Is this a issue with one of the printing companies? Perhaps.
Maybe, because
is it a problem with speeding up or not speeding up, being too hasty with printing?
I mean, this is
and
one of the
other
first
printing
sets,
issues.
Right. This is one of the first sets that was fully just in the COVID era, as I understand it. So, for example, there was an arrow on one of the sketch cards has a typo on them, or whatever. And again, this is one of those weird anomalies that come up and we're not sure, and there's a lot of question marks. And again, not everybody's gotten their product to open them to see if this is the case. So we'll be able to report back as things continue here.
I would also be curious as to what the precedent is for this. Historically, how often do these issues take place? Is it, does it feel like it's a big deal, but it's always been here the whole time? That's really what I'd like to know.
There have been issues like this in the past with, for example, inventions. The Amonkhet inventions had some issues, or I think the Kaladesh inventions rather had some issues, and the Amonkhet stuff had a few issues depending on whether it was the European printing or the USA printing. There's different printers all over the world. Japanese printers are sort of unique to American versus European.
So it sounds like things happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. Again, this is the question of where did this come from? How bad is it? Was it just a weird one-off? And Wizards is clearly investigating, so high five.
Yeah.
Is this, it could be nothing.
Right.
Or it could be a one-off. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or it could be a symptom.
It could. And we will see.
We don't know.
So
we just don't know. There's not enough information. And also, who tweeted this? We don't know who, is this person a reliable source?
Right, that I don't know. I did not investigate too far into that.
I think they've been on the Pro Tour. I remember I recognized the name.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
So moving on here to something that April King had said earlier today even. She brought up this image here that somebody had edited from an XKCD to edit to say that all MTG content infrastructure is being held up right there by Scryfall. And she's like, she says this image really made them think about the thing that frustrates them the most about Wizards, which is their inability to understand or care about the network effects of software. By being strongly not invented here, they have badly stunted the Magic ecosystem. She goes.
That's supposed to be invested.
Is invested?
Probably. It's supposed to be, I think.
By being strongly not invested here?
It's said invented, but the sentence makes more sense with invested.
Fair
I don't know.
Well, they say, for example, the MTGO and MTGA should have their own compatible API, which, my God, what a wonderful thing that would be. And I brought it up many times over the years. Wizards does not give two craps, I assure you, because this would allow people to run trackers to manage their collection and hook tools into Twitch and other stuff. And we're talking Magic Online, which is super old school stuff from 2002. So it would be a lot harder, I think, than Arena. They don't care about doing either. Having public APIs for people who want to build game clients on top. Can you imagine someone having a custom Magic game client that interacted with your Magic Online, account, essentially?
It would be nice.
You could play in your web browser because so-and-so programmed it because Wizards gave them access to that amount of data. A thing you could do if they had those open APIs, which they don't. And a whole bunch of things here that they could do better, essentially. But at the end, the thing I know, she says here, I have been following Magic for a very, very long time, and I can't think of any time that Wizards has said, quote, here is a piece of infrastructure or software we have built, now go build great things on top of it. And it has made the game much poorer as a result. It literally has. Wizards has no... Wizards can't draw a line from let's spend more time making our database, our gatherer or our game clients more friendly to open database calls to making more money. And for what it's worth, it's hard to draw that line at all. But what you can also see here from Scryfall, which is Scryfall has provided all of these tools, all of these hooks, all these ability to quickly link to cards, to show all the different versions of the cards, to show all the different language of the cards, to show the cards in a high enough resolution. We are still showing the same resolutions from 2006 as in 2021, and that is just embarrassing. Straight up, seriously.
So, again, what's the context here? Like, is it normal for other games to have this ability, or I guess that's what I'm concerned about. Like,
for me, this was a post about the possibility of things that you could do if Wizards provided you the access to the stuff.
Where's the expectation that this should exist? Like, is this something other games offer? Like, that's what I'm trying to understand. Like,
it depends on the context and in a variety of different ways. None that I can like call from my top of my head right now. But what I know essentially is that, and this was my argument after I read all this, which is Wizards needs to give it up. Gatherer sucks. No one likes Gatherer. It's terrible. It still has errors in it from God knows how far along back that people have told them about that they don't fix. Historic is not even a format option in Gatherer. It is in Scryfall.
Oh, wow.
Scryfall has all the different versions in all the different languages, whereas Gatherer does not. It is a joke, and nobody at Wizards wants to work on Gatherer. I'm telling you, 0 people I've ever talked to at Wizards in my lifetime, having done this 15 years, nobody at Wizards likes Gatherer. Nobody. It's a pain in the butt to work with. It's a hook, it's a bag around, it's a bag on their hip. They can't stand it. Scryfall has done all of this work for you. All of the work you didn't like. All of looking up all the weird little errors, fixing all the different little things, having all the card images, having them nice and big and not a freaking postage stamp size. They've done all of it. Just go send them some money and saying that they're the official card database of Magic the Gathering and be done with it. Ship them a check, shut down Gatherer, forward it to Scryfall, and let it go. As I understand it, Fantasy Flight has done this with at least one of their games of just saying that the fans' database is far better than what they could make, so they just made it official. I need to look up more on that. Someone just told that to me, so I didn't like research it, but I believe it because look what's happened. You have this incredible database of this very complex game, and I understand that the company doesn't want to spend a whole bunch of time improving their own database.
Yeah, every once in a while, I will Google a Magic card name. The first link will be Gatherer, and I go, ew, gross. And I scroll, and then I type in Scryfall, and I look it up. And it's shocking how derelict Gatherer is, and how, every once in a while on this show, we will say, hey, look at all this money Wizards is making. Look at all this money Hasbro's making. Look at all this cool stuff that they're coming out with. And, oh, by the way, we've got this, shantytown of a database that is embarrassing, really.
And Old Man Layfield said in the comments here in the chat, said never pay someone for something if they're willing to do it for free. And for what it's worth, Scryfall is getting paid. Those card purchase links that you have there, they can get paid a variety of ways from those links. So it's not like the site is necessarily losing money or needs money. It's more about like the official, like Wizards deigns this as the official one. They can stop worrying about it. They can stop putting time and money into it. And whatever money or whatever thing they send to Scryfall's way to say that you are the official database is got to be less than whatever the effort they're putting in now in this database that no one really likes to use in the first place. That's my argument. That's all I got.
I agree with you.
All right. Let's see here. Do you guys want to talk about the Magic Online announcements? Aaron, do you care about any of this stuff?
Aaron does. Aaron wants to talk about everything that's in the doc.
Don't want to skip it.
Well, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier with, Pioneer. You mentioned that, is Historic trying to be Pioneer? What are they trying to do with it? And, they had to lower the number of players in order to fire the Pioneer Challenge from 64 to 32 because Pioneer has been having problems firing these last few weeks. And so I don't know if this is going to make a difference. I think they haven't even had 32 people to try to make this thing fire, but some people do like to play events with lower caps because the prizes might be better. But yeah, Pioneer's still not in a good spot. I'm not really sure what it'll take. I haven't played Pioneer in ages, but it seems like everybody's focused on Modern right now, as they should be. Legacy's also really hot right now. It's exciting to play Vintage. You can play KCI in Vintage. Come on down. Some of the hype around Pauper. You can play Storm again. Modern Horizons 2 has really injected a lot of life in various formats, and I don't think Pioneer is one of them, but hey, it's out there.
You've not played Pioneer in a long time, and neither has anybody else.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Embarrassing.
I mean, it is what it is.
Speaking of embarrassing things that are associated with Wizards of the Coast, that they could just do better some other way, but whatever.
It is what it is. I mean, but playing Modern Horizons 2 events, those things are hopping. You can get your entry fee back pretty easily with the crazy buy prices. I'm
For
seeing.
sure.
Yeah, like grab some of those mythics.
I saw someone tweet that like the return on investment for a pack of Modern Horizons is like
insane.
Just like 100, like literally 3 digits.
Oh, I mean, there was a generator, like a draft box generator, and like I just kept hitting the button, and it was like $900 in value, $1,000 in value, $900 in value. Like it just kept going. Now these prices won't last, but my goodness, right now, like it's crazy. So if you want fetch lands, wait about 2 weeks, and then they're never going to be cheaper than that, and get as many as you want, because that's it, and then it goes up from there. All right, let's move on here. Want to move a little bit to the splash damage. Again, don't want to not say stuff.
Yeah, if you're going to skip anything ever, you're going to get in trouble, Evan.
That's right. And
I
was going to skip this one, but we're not gonna, because it's in the dock.
Why would you skip this one?
Ladies and gentlemen, pictures, filming begins on the new Dungeons and Dragon film.
Yeah.
They're making it. It's happening.
Alnwick Castle.
Yeah, Alnwick Castle, best known as the castle from Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
The cast includes Star Trek's Chris Pine and the Fast and the Furious actress Michelle Rodriguez, as well as Bridgerton favorite Ray-Jean Page in the U.S. movie. Wow, that is a cast.
Yep.
I mean,
so this is also the castle.
Bucks.
This is also the castle from the first 2 Harry Potter movies. It's been there since the 12th century. Actual Richard II fought there, I think. This is a cool site, and more relevant to this show, Wizards of the Coast IP is actually making a piece of media that might be released someday.
That has a script and a director.
After a dozen, they're on set.
Yeah,
we've had announcements of like, we're coming out with a movie, we're coming out with a book, we're coming out with a TV show. Never has it actually gotten to the filming.
Now this is all well and good, but you know the thing that I care about when it comes to these movies and these TV shows. What does the wig budget look like?
Sure.
Because you can have all the big name stars and you can have all the pretty castles, but if you've got roadkill on your head, I'm not watching it.
Can't pull it off.
Put some money into your wigs, for the love of God.
Yeah, the last D&D movie from like, what was that? The mid 90s was not exactly a tour de force of costume budgetry, let's say.
If they can pull it off, they're not pulling it off. You know what I'm saying?
They just recently posted some pictures of the, I guess there's a Game of Thrones prequel coming out. Yeah. They used that one guy, Varys. They basically just used the same damn wig. Like, it's just, you take that wig, you shake it out. Stop that. You were spending $18 million an episode. Put some of it on their goddamn heads.
Know what I appreciate about Erin is she cares about 5 things. Ish. Like maybe like 4.5.
4.25.
And one of them is wigs, and she'll wig out about it.
Oh my God.
I literally couldn't make it through the first. I have not made it through movies and TV shows because the wigs were so distracting. I'm not.
That's where it falls apart for you.
That's where it goes wrong.
It's not the dragons. It's not the magic system.
Nope.
It's not the bad dialogue. It could be all aces. If it's a bad wig, I'm turning it off.
We're done here. Nope, you screwed it up.
Just say it.
It's a good thing that Citizen Kane was made on 12mm film.
Oh, even my boyfriend's gotten onto it. We were watching Downton Abbey the other day, and he was like, "That's a wig, isn't it?"
Just ruined it. Just ruined it. Goodness gracious. I'm going to turn the corner here to the finisher. It's looking like one of the biggest cards in Modern Horizons 2 across all formats and archetypes is going to be Urza's Saga. I know, the rare enchantment land is hitting aggro, control, combo, mid-range, and everything in between across Vintage, Modern, and Legacy. Most of the time, Wizards names Magic cards after sets and not the other way around, so tell me, what's the set name surefire hit of Modern Horizons 3, Aaron?
All right, well, looking through the set names that could possibly interest me, if they made a card for them, there aren't a ton of winners. But I can definitely see a cool reanimation spell / one-sided wrath effect called Fallen Empires. And if any set needs a redemption arc with anything good to come out of it, it's Fallen Empires.
I bought packs of that set.
I stole money from my mom's purse as a kid to buy Fallen Empires. Like, what a world.
Yep, with my own allowance money, I bought Fallen Empires with a straight face. It hurt a little bit. Ruben?
With how much everything's going up in quarantine, those are probably worth literally tens of dollars at this point.
Absolutely.
Ruben? Dozens of dollars. Nothing would make me happier than if an aggressive aura or equipment became the best thing in Modern Horizons 3. And if there's one name that could pull it off, one set that could use a boost to its playability and also call back to one of my favorite settings, it's the hot new 2-drop from MH3, Mercadian Masks.
Oh, man.
Very nice. That branding could use the uplift, could use that.
Another set that maybe could use being good. Yeah.
My favorite story about Mercadian Masks is I used to do the Magic Online used to do regular flashback drafts and they would just go literally in the order that sets were released. And I remember we were doing it for a while, and then I remember calling them, and it was it's Mercadian Masks weekend, and they were like, yeah, we're not doing it this weekend.
Yeah, it's not a good draft format.
No.
Oh, it was rough. Well, let me tell you, I love big splashy effects and big giant creatures. And I also like truth in advertising, okay? So I'm looking forward to Wizards writing an ancient, soon to be ancient wrong, making a giant, fun, exciting creature be the best thing in the set and finally putting the dragon back in Dragon's Maze.
You do feel really strongly about that. You've brought that up before.
There is no dragon.
There's no dragon in Dragon's Maze.
There's not one. Not nothing. Not a mythic. Not a rare. Not a nothing. It makes no sense.
There are 0 cards with card type dragon
in Dragon's Maze.
In Dragon's Maze.
Unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was sad. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mics. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things Magic. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Ruben.
Thank you.
Move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardHoarder.com, and Alter Sleeves. Use the code MAGICMICS at AlterSleeves.com. My co-hosts, Aaron Campbell and Ruben Bressler, you guys for watching or listening. I hope you support us at Patreon.com/MagicMics. Please follow, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at MagicMics, on Twitter at MagicMicsCast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.